It's me, I'm Brian Davis Races. Listen, I watched my video last week, maybe once or twice, but I was kind of going through that in my head, and I ran into somebody on my team that made a comment to me last week that I should be more positive. And then I watched the video and I thought about it, and I probably should be more positive. When I line up, all I can think about is negative stuff, so that's something I'm really going to work on this week. So we spent a lot of time getting our bike right, getting our wheels right, getting our tires right, getting our tire pressure right, getting our fit right. Well, how much time do we spend getting our mind right? And I think we could probably almost all agree that that might be one of the biggest components of cycling. So that's something I'm going to focus on this week. And in fact, another racer who was in the video last week that got second place on my team happens to be taking a class right now in sports psychology. So I'm going to pick his brain tomorrow morning and just see if I can get some extra tips to think about on my way down to the race so that when I line up, I have a positive mindset about how well things might go. Today I have a special guest. Brent has come to help me get out of my mental malaise. Brent is taking a class. What's the name of the class?
It's behavioral aspects of kinesiology.
This subject has been interesting to me for a few years. It sticks moving along. About a year later, I went and saw a hypnotist because I was dying to lose 5 pounds. True story. He's like, well, what, are you stressed out? Do you need, are you smoking, anything? I'm like, no, I just want to lose 5 pounds. It's really pissing me off. I can't lose 5 pounds. It's tough. It's tough to say like that works or that doesn't work. Right. So if you're going to go about this, somebody's watching and says, all right, I'm going to start thinking positively like myself. Like,
yep.
How does that, what are the steps? How would I do that?
So one of the first things I think is to set goals. As far as what, so that way when you do go through this stuff, you have, something to kind of look at and be able to assess, like, yeah, this worked. So there's a couple different kinds of goals that people set, like an outcome goal is one, a process goal, or a performance goal. The outcome goal is like, I want to win a bike race.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal. The performance goal is like, I'm going to improve on what my previous results. So if you look at like Whitnall Park,
right,
for instance, last week, like 2 years ago I finished 10th, and this year I want to finish top 5.
Right.
So like improving on previous performance. And then the process goals are like things inside of the performance that you can focus on improving. So whether it's being decisive or I want to position myself better, I want to pay attention to the wind more. So that way, if you don't win the bike race, but you improve on your previous performance, and you're like, I was decisive, I did what I wanted to do. One of the keys to building self-confidence is success.
Okay.
Like, it's kind of a reciprocal relationship where the more success you have, your performance increases, and the more your performance increases, the more self-confidence you have.
Right.
So as you kind of get that rolling, it's the little things to start, and then you kind of can just keep building on that.
Yeah. That's a great, that's really compact, totally useful information. Like you can still win a process goal, you could still win a performance goal, or even an
outcome goal. Right. But it just keeps you more focused on that.
I love that.
Ways to be effective with self-talk is to like use a phrase. Should be present tense, not like I'm going to do this, but I am doing this.
Right. Interestingly, now that you say this, I remember this from the hypnotist. His concept was to actually speak in past tense, that you've already done it. So I've already lost 5 pounds. I've already lost 5 pounds, or I've already done a PR. I've already done this.
Sure.
So that's kind of interesting. I mean, I think it goes the same path. Like,
tell yourself that something's going to happen. You're more likely.
Yeah. Same concept.
Put in the work to make it happen. The other thing too, like with negative self-talk, one of the things that has been really shown to stop it is using a thought stopper. A lot of times it's a phrase or like a cue word that you tell yourself. So every time like that negative thought comes into your mind, you're like, whatever your thought stopping word or phrase is, you say that.
Yeah.
And that's where you try and end it, like
kitty cats.
Yep.
Right.
Done. Whether it's to distract you from it or whatever. I read a couple of studies where they use like rubber bands around people's wrists to do it. Just they'd snap themselves with a rubber band whenever they had negative self-talk.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where it takes practice. Like all of this stuff, to actually be really effective with it, it takes practice. So, using it all of the time is not a bad idea. To be like, you're walking to work and you're like, oh, today's gonna suck.
Yeah.
It's like, that's negative self, or whatever.
Kitty cats.
Yeah, like just whatever to kind of stop that negative self-talk or negative thought process. So during the race, before the race, after the race, I mean, all of those times are good times to use it as well for like sports applications, but all the time it's really...
I love it. That's awesome. Well, that's great information, Brent. I really appreciate it. I hope everybody else, or the 5 people watching, appreciate it too. But if you guys got any questions or comments, or if you have an experience where you tried using self-talk, or if you've found success with it in the past, drop a comment, let us know. I'd be super curious to hear those stories, and maybe that anecdotal evidence starts to mount up just within our little world of cycling, that we can say, hey, this works for cycling, so let's just do this, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's cheaper than carbon. All right, let's go racing. All right, here we go. Launching off the race at Muskego. So this course is either up or down. There's not too many rolling sections. There's one on the top and one on the bottom. So this hill we're going to fight plenty of times today, and that proves difficult for my extra girth. So the temperature is about 46, 48, probably maybe 50. I guess it was 50 after the race, so somewhere in that 48 to 50 range. Beautiful day. Wind was there, but wasn't much. It's currently left to right off the riders based on at the top of the course, so not significant amount of wind out there. So gorgeous day for racing. Had the family in tow for this race, which was a special treat. That was nice. So thinking of mental toughness on the way down, I was really trying to get my head together, although I don't know how well that worked. I was a little agitated, which is unfortunate for my family because they had to put up with my agitated self, but in any event, on the way down there, I tried to remind myself that I put in a lot of work this winter, and I know this is not a course that's made for me by any means, but I had a couple things going for me. So we'll get into that. But so again, sorry for the lack of overlay for the power. There's actually a power meter on Kickstarter right now that's $150, and it cost me $100 just to get the SRM shipped off and fixed up. So it's not too long before the SRM will make zero financial sense, despite being a really fantastic piece of kit. So, oh well. All right, so I had a couple teammates in this race, which was fantastic, and I really needed them. I wish I could have performed better for them. So, like I mentioned, I had a couple things working for me. The bike was in good shape. I switched to latex tubes. I put 25s on there instead of 23s that were on there before. There's a couple other little doodads I did. Fresh lube.
Go Daddy!
Here's the hill again and again and again. It took a toll!
Go Daddy! Go Daddy! Go Daddy! Go Daddy!
Okay, you get the point. We did that a lot. So here's the family. Just wanted to show them because that was really helpful to have as a mental strength. So they cheered for me every lap, which was fantastic. A lot more fun to the race when they come. Those are my cheerleaders they built. They're having some fun despite being a little chilly. But it was good to have them along for the ride, that's for sure. All right, so now as far as the race goes, it's a pretty quiet race. There was not a lot going on. There was a few breakaway attempts, a few attacks. This is one. Now we'll see this gentleman in the blue attack later, but this is his first run at it. And this hill, like I think I made it clear, it took a toll after a while. So another attack here by the orange fella. Yeah, then he sits up. So the bike felt great. At some point in the race, I felt like my bars were loose, and that's an interesting thing because that was totally in my head. The bars were not loose. I later went to go tighten them to see if they were loose, and they were brutally tight. So there was absolutely nothing wrong with my bars, but somewhere in there, I just would have bet anything on it that those bars slipped in there. So that made me a little nervous, especially that tight high-speed turn. Not really tight, but that high-speed turn at the bottom has a
couple significant lumps in the pavement that definitely get your attention every single time. So it took me a number of laps to get that turn figured out and how to be comfortable on that turn. Eventually I figured it out, but it took some time. So that, that mental game of trying to find some speed in the turns, and then when you do find it, calling that a process win. So I guess to some extent that's a process win. Maybe a performance win. So maybe it's in between those two. Yeah. So I tried to focus on positive things. I really did. Now, at the end of the race, I was decidedly unpositive, but I got called out by a teammate's wife for being unpositive, so I think I'll remember that next time I'm feeling dejected that I do not want to run into Sally and get told to cheer up. But it's good advice, and I should really listen to it. So anyway, this race, like I said, it's pretty calm. There's a break up, or a solo break up the road there, so we skipped ahead a number of laps here. Just so you know, we're not going to watch this whole race. Well, that last clip I was trying to explain, that's Robert Berry, who won last week. He actually won this race, spoiler alert. Super strong rider, and everyone is keying off of Robert at this point, and another rider, Mike Budd. We're all kind of keying off of those two, but there's maybe less reasons to key off just those two. This Weather Channel rider had a great sprint last week. He's really strong this week, and yeah, so there's plenty of ammo in the Masters field. So this hill took the toll, like I said, time and time again. I'm sorry, but with about 3 laps to go, it just got to be quite a lot for me to deal with. That really hurt. So there was a couple times when I was at the back of the race. So that little clip there's somebody up the road going solo, and then I think this is the part where my teammate John is really going to go do a load of work to pull that person back. That was the black kit with blue lettering. I think Verge was the name. So there's 2 to go. I don't know, it's hard to see there, but there's 2 to go. So we definitely skipped ahead a few. So this is that high-speed turn I was talking about where I just struggled with these lumps. And then you can see I took this one. That's okay. But I'm on the back of the field, that's for sure. There's 23 riders that entered the field. So that was the end result. And this, okay, I think this is the scene where we catch the breakaway. So now there's 1 lap to go. Skip most of this last lap. All right, now we're into the last lap of the race. Everybody feels like they have another chance, myself included. I fought hard to stay into this race, but my brain and my body were starting to definitely have some problems at this point. So we'll just let the tape roll here till the end. So I'm struggling. I am literally dying. We brought back a really strong break, a solo break that John, my teammate, brought back, and I was dead last in that train bringing that back. So I got a chance to win, which was awesome. Thank you, John. But I just didn't have the juice to do it. So we're going into the final sprint here. There's going to be a crash, which is unfortunate. It's going to be on your right-hand side. Watch the orange guy. He's not going to fare well. And I'll slow it down so we can see what happened, but it's really difficult to tell what happened. So from what I understand from talking to racers, people just got, there was maybe a lead-out person that was going slower than everybody else expected, or somebody got in the grass, or whatever the case was. So you can see that white jersey just runs right over somebody's leg and amazingly keeps his bike upright. I don't know how he did that. So that's the orange guy. He's going to go down pretty hard. Ambulance comes in, all that jazz. So hopefully he's okay, recovering. So this is the sprint. I could have gone a little more, but I was just, the crash certainly takes a little spring out of your step. But that was the race. I ended up finishing 11th. I think the mental game thing is just going to take me a bit more practice to figure out. But I'm committed to it. I really need it. And I'm going to put a lot of effort into that this week. I need more consistency in training, more hours, but that's tough with life. However, I do have an opportunity to work out in the morning if I would wake up early enough. So the math I'm trying to do in my head is, when does losing or poor performance suck more than the action of waking up early or putting in time that's uncomfortable or doing intervals or whatever the case is, or eating right? When does losing suck more than those other things? I don't know. I feel like I'm getting close. We'll see what happens. All right. Thanks for listening. And we did a competition last week, so maybe we'll do another one this week. Keep a comment alive, and I'll announce something in the comments if we're going to do another giveaway. All right. Thanks for watching. If you like what I had to say today, please subscribe, like, or comment. If you don't like what I had to say today, goodbye.